Hey guys, welcome to Youth Night Live. This is our very first night for us to be live with you guys on YouTube. So I'm excited that you guys are joining us. I figured this would be maybe a cleaner way, an easier way for us to meet outside of our small groups and our hangouts. So I hope that you guys had a great hangout in our Zoom groups a few minutes ago with our small group leaders. And so glad that you're joining us on this Easter night. I hope you had a good Sunday morning with your families, and glad that you got to join us with our second family here at the garage. So we have some pretty cool stuff tonight. So if you're series tonight called Peeping It Real.
For more than 60 years, Peeps have graced the nation's Easter baskets, becoming a springtime tradition as all-American as baseball. They're the treat Reese Witherspoon loves to eat. The candy of Justin Bieber's dreams.
You have a new favorite candy. Are you going to tell people what that is?
You know those marshmallow Peeps?
Peeps are fantastic. You're going to have a great...
Back. So we're going to start off tonight with some Peeps stuff. I mean, some of you may love Peeps, some of you may hate Peeps. I'm not a huge fan myself, but they're an iconic Easter tradition. So we're going to start off tonight with a little game. I like to call this game Peep Jousting. Now, so Peep Jousting has been around for a while. And we're going to do it ourselves tonight too. So we're going to have two different contestants that we're going to have battling it out in the microwave. So what I want you to do is to choose which Peep Jouster that you're going to root for. So they're going to be on the screen here. So here's our first contestant. This is our pink guy. This is Lord Sugarcoat. So if you're going to root for him, you're going to put his name in the comments, or Sir Sprinkles, our blue Peep. So what I want you to do in comments is I want you to tell us who you're rooting for, and we're fixing to go live to our microwave cam and see which one comes out champion. Let's go live to our microwave cam right now. Welcome back. I hope your jousting Peep won. So hopefully you rooted for the right one that made it the furthest in our microwave challenge. Now, talking about Peeps, we're going to do something else a little fun. So I have a few contestants who are about to play another game. We're going to call this game Peep Taste Test. So this game, we're going to blindfold two of our student ministry leaders, and they're going to taste test some Peeps and tell us what flavor those Peeps are. So let's welcome with a big round of applause our contestants. We have Colin and Andre. So Andre, I'm going to give you my seat so you can go ahead and hop right here. All right, so I'm going to have you guys taste test some Peeps. Now, it would be too easy to taste test the Peeps if you could see them. So we're going to blindfold you to make sure that you can't accidentally see which Peeps you have, because that would make it way, way too easy. All right. Okay, Andre, how many fingers am I? I'm just kidding. He can't see you even. I don't know why I'm blindfolding him. He doesn't need glasses. All right, and Colin, this is very fashionable. You guys, you're welcome to keep these after the game. You may want to wear them out in town. I'm pretty sure may set a trend. Awesome.
You know, cover our mouths with it, you know.
Corona. Yeah, so these double. Okay, so we're going to unwrap some Peeps, and I want you guys to taste test and tell me what they are. So we're going to get our first one here. For those at home that are watching, the answer is going to be back on the screen here, but they can't see that answer. They're going to taste test it and tell us what that flavor is. All right, so we have our very first one here. You guys see it on the screen? All right. Don't say anything. We don't want them to cheat. All right. What flavor it is? All right, Colin? Okay. All right, so Andre, what flavor do you think that Peep was that you just tasted?
So I'm getting a little bit of cotton and maybe a small hint of candy.
Okay.
So I'm gonna guess cotton candy.
All right, so that one was actually cotton candy. All right, good job, Andre. All right, so let's go ahead and get our next flavor out here.
I had an allergic reaction to that. So.
Are you dying on it?
Okay.
That one's good. All right, so Colin, there is yours, and Andre, here is yours. All right. So Colin, I'll let you go first again.
This one's strawberry.
That one's strawberry. Okay. No cheating, Andre.
Oh, I know.
Okay. Andre, what do you think it is?
Not strawberry. A little bit more.
Oh,
maybe,
no, it's not.
Yeah, I think it's multiple fruits.
Multiple fruits.
Yeah, so maybe like a fruit punch.
Oh, dang. Okay. All right. That was correct. It was fruit punch. Colin's eating that. He likes that. Okay. All right. So, we're ready for our next flavor here. All right. For those who are watching at home, you can see what the flavor is on the screen. All right. Whew, this one got a strong scent to it. All right, there's yours, and there is yours. All right, so Andre, I'm gonna let you go first on this one. Andre, what flavor are you tasting there?
White.
You're tasting white.
Got a good white flavor.
White, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so, all right, so we got our next flavor. For those at home, you can see on the screen what flavor we have.
Sorry to look at the screen there. And then you want to get that right because you look at it.
Ooh, okay. All right, got you one here. Okay, and Andre, here is yours. All right, Colin, what you think?
It tastes like the bottle caps that like used to taste like Coke.
Bottle cap Cokes. I've never eaten a bottle cap before. So
candies.
Okay. Okay. So Andre, what do you think that flavor was?
I'm gonna guess root beer.
Root beer. Okay. I actually was correct. Root beer was the answer. All right. Here we go. Here is our next one. All right, Colin. Here is yours, and Andre, here is yours. All right. All right. So Colin, go ahead and go in first.
Watermelon.
Okay, that's a good guess. Okay, Andre, what do you think?
I'm gonna guess green apple.
Green apple. Okay, so Colin, you were actually right. That one was actually watermelon, and more specifically, it was actually sour watermelon.
That's gross.
Yeah. All right, so good job on that one. All right, so here we go, the last one. All right, here we go. And Colin, there is yours. All right, and Andre, here is yours. All right, there you go, Colin.
Cinnamon.
Okay, maybe bigger. Take another bite, just another big bite, just to make sure. Was.
I threw mine in the garbage because Peeps are disgusting.
That's actually the correct answer. Peeps are disgusting. So that one was the hot tamale fierce cinnamon. All right, good job, guys. Give it up for our contestants for our Peep taste test. Okay, all right, Colin, you can remove your blindfold. All right. Do you notice something different about what's in front of you and what's in front of Andre?
Nothing. There's nothing in front of Andre.
Do you know how many Peeps Andre also taste tested?
All of them.
None. So Andre didn't actually taste test a single Peep, and Colin did. So let's give it up for our contestants. Colin still lost, though, but thank you for playing. Wait, Colin, why did you leave us? Hey, Colin, I'm not done with you yet. Come back here, buddy. Come back here. There he is. So actually, here, come sit here with me. So I got a question. So how does it make you feel knowing that you were told that you were going to do the exact same thing, and you endured all those things, thinking Andre was doing it too, but to come to find out he wasn't having to do any of that.
I'm all upset.
Upset at me or at him?
You.
Now, he was in on it too, though.
Oh, well, this is a conspiracy.
Conspiracy. I mean, I know it's not the worst thing in the world, but, you know, he had to endure a lot less than you had to endure. Because, I mean, I know peeps are not one of your most favorite things, and also adding cinnamon, lots of it. I'm shocked you didn't spit it out. I would have. So so how would it make you feel, though, if you guys played the game fairly, you know, both did the exact same things at the exact same time?
Better. More fair.
Because you know that he would be enduring it at the same time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's you know, kind of like that in life for me too. Thank you, Colin. Let's give it up for Colin for being a great champion and not leaving me. He did awesome. So he is definitely second place in that game, like strong second. Almost got first place. You know, tonight we're going to talk about something like that. You know, not that that was the most disgusting, terrible thing in the world, but you know, sometimes life, you know, isn't fair, and sometimes things just don't go the way that we hope they would. And sometimes we endure things different than other people. And oftentimes people come to us with things in life that are hard and hurtful. Like, you know, they went through a really tough time in life, and we're like, you know, I'm there for you. You know, I love and support you. And you know they truly mean it, but it's hard for it's hard for them to really know what you're going through unless they went through it as well. You know, like tonight, it was a simple challenge, but Andre has no idea the disgusting flavors that Colin took. And to be truthful, if Andre actually played this game tonight, would actually be at the hospital. Because every one of these things we had tonight had red dye in it. He's allergic to red dye. So it would have been very unfair for him to have actually played that game, but it was unfair for me to actually place him in a game to play against someone that could endure it. But the thing is, they both did the challenge to what I asked them to do, but they endured different things. You know, in life, God gives us choices. God gives us things in life that sometimes are challenges for us to work through, and it helps us to become the person He's called us to be. I don't believe God puts bad things on us, but I believe He allows us sometimes to go through things to make us stronger. But when we pair up with someone else in life that helps us endure those things, it gives us a better sense of security, knowing that that person has endured a lot of things himself, and he came back around. He got some things in his life right, but unfortunately, he had done enough things in his life that really caused a lot of pain for himself, and his life was shortened because of it. And when that happened, you know, I went through some really depressing times in my mind. And I had a lot of people come to me as like, man, I'm so sorry you went through that. Like, I'm here for you. The problem was they hadn't lost their dad. And so even though I know they cared about me and I know they were saying loving and kind things, they hadn't endured the same thing I had endured. But then when I had some friends in my life who came along who also lost their mom or dad and were able to encourage me from what they went through, it was different. Because there was a sense of comfort knowing that they've dealt with the exact same pain I have, and they helped me work through it the way they did. And so when we endure things with someone who's been through it, there's comfort in the feeling knowing that we're not alone. Which gets us to tonight's story and tonight's message. We're calling this series Peeping It Real because we're going to have some real talk about what it means to be real and authentic and how to navigate life when it can get really hard, when it can, like, life can be tough and we can't do it alone. Like, we have to partner up with tough. You know, it is so easy to feel alone. Sometimes it feels like we're the only person on earth that's going through that thing. And even though people tell us that God is with us, it can still feel like we're going through all of those things alone. If your friend who you've been friends with for a very long time turns their back on you, or you don't make the sports team that you knew you did your best at and you rocked it, but someone else who wasn't even nearly as good got the position that you thought you were sure in for. Or you study really, really hard for a test, you know the right stuff, but in the middle of the test you freeze up and you fail it. Or you work really hard to get a job that you really think you should get, and then someone else gets it who isn't that qualified. Or you try really hard, you work your tail off to win an award, and it goes to someone else. Or you do your best to be the best son or daughter to your parents, and yet your brother and sister gets rewarded. Or you do your best to be the best son or daughter or brother or sister, and that person treats you really bad. You know, it can be really difficult when people that we love, don't give us back what we think we should receive. It's really tough in life too when we work really hard and life kind of throws us a curveball, and what we thought we were going to get or how we thought life should play out goes the opposite way. It can be really tough. When life is difficult, we might wonder, why would God let this happen? Like, why would a God that Nathan talks about as so loving and caring and forgiving let this stuff happen to me? And we may ask ourselves, should I just give up? You may ask me, like, Nathan, I've tried this. Like, God must just not care what I have to say. You may even say, is it worth it? This may come as a surprise, but even Jesus understands what it's like to ask these questions. I didn't say that Jesus understands why we ask these questions. I said Jesus understands why we would ask these questions. Not because he understands us, but because he's dealt with some pretty tough things too. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. If you've been around church before, you've probably heard that Jesus died and he rose again. That's what we're celebrating today. It's Easter. That's what today is. Today is a celebration of a person named Jesus who lived, who died, but rose again to give us life so that what's inside of us that's dead may be brought back to life better than it ever was before. And that's what we celebrate here at Easter. And today we celebrate not just today, but every day that Jesus is alive. And because of that, I believe Jesus has some key thoughts to help us to understand how to navigate suffering. We're going to look in the Bible tonight in Matthew. Matthew's a gospel in the New Testament. It's the very first book in the Bible in the New Testament. We're going to look at Matthew chapter 26, verses 36 through 39. It will also be on the screen behind me. It said this: taking along Peter and the two sons of Zebedee, he plunged into an agonizing sorrow. Jesus plunged into an agonizing sorrow. Then he said, "This sorrow is crushing my life out. Stay here and keep vigil with me. Like, stay here and keep watch with me. Like, just hang out with me." Going a little ahead, he fell on his face, praying, "My Father, if there is any way, get me out of this. But please, not what I want, but what you want." Like, this wasn't someone else Jesus was talking to. This was Jesus himself talking to God, saying, "God, like, I know what I have to do. But if there's another way for me to save people, to give people life, God, like, will you let me in on it?" Like, Jesus wasn't backing out. He was just aware of how difficult things were about to get. And he was saying, "God, will you help me? God, will you give me something else, another way out?" But he said, "But listen, it's not my will but yours. So God, what you have of me, I will do. If there's another way, if there's another option, can you let me in?" And sometimes we may say the same thing too. Like, "God, this stuff is horrible. Life is tough. God, can you give me an escape? God, can you give me a way out?" And I think we can ask those same questions. In this one chapter, Jesus experienced more suffering than most of us could ever imagine or even go through. Like, he said goodbye to his closest friends. He was plotted against. He was let down by every single person he loved. Almost everybody in his circle let him down. He was arrested. He was taken to trial. He was sentenced to death. He was spit on. He was ridiculed. He was beaten. And he was betrayed by two of his closest friends. We might imagine Jesus walking towards death, like this sentencing, with peace and comfort. Because we're like, it's Jesus. Like, he's got it under control. But the account of Jesus in this story, it tells something a little different. The biblical accounts of this moment say that Jesus was overwhelmed. When we see these scriptures, we see that Jesus was anguished. We see that he was exhausted because he knew what was about to happen. He knew how tough it was about to get. They even tell us that Jesus' sweat turned to blood. Like he was so overwhelmed, his sweat turned to blood. And in science, it says that basically this condition happens when someone is under excruciating, abnormal pain and stress, that this will happen. Like in the final hours before Jesus' death, we see him asking God, is there another way? Because Jesus was under stress. If I was Jesus, then I'd be asking another question too. I'd be saying, God, is there another way? But God, is it worth it? God, are these people worth it? Now, do you see how they treat each other? How they treated me? Are they even worth it? That would be the questions I'd be asking. These people who've betrayed me, these people who have forgotten me, these people who've humiliated me, these people who have hurt me and want to kill me, like, are they worth this pain? If I was Jesus, my answer would be no. I know that sounds terrible, but if you were to ask yourself that question too, if the whole world was against you, would you want to die for them? You know, luckily, Jesus wasn't selfish. And not only did Jesus suffer, but many people in the first century around that time suffered too because of their faith in Jesus. The Roman government was threatened by what Jesus was teaching, because he was teaching hope. He was giving grace. He was saying, listen, all this law, all these rules, like they were for a time. Jesus says, I have come to fulfill that law and to give people life and to give them life better than they've ever had it. Jesus came to restore what was lost. And naturally, this made the followers of Jesus wonder, is this Jesus thing worth it? Because if he got punished that way, I'm not sure if I'm in. You know, and I can ask those same questions for myself. You know, and also many of Jesus' early followers, they were Jewish. And so they were raised to follow the laws and the beliefs of Judaism. They put their trust in Jesus and began to follow him. But in the face of persecution, many of these Jewish followers considered going back to their old ways because they were worried about what might happen to Jesus would happen to them. And that's where the book of Hebrews comes in. Hebrews was a letter that was written to encourage the followers of Jesus who weren't sure if all the pain and suffering was worth it. And the author tells the followers of Jesus just to stay strong and to not drift away, and to remember that Jesus understands what it feels like to suffer. You know, we already said that the comfort matters more when it comes from someone who understands what we're going through. If that's true, then Jesus can understand and comfort us better than anyone else, because Jesus understands suffering better than anyone. He was sad. He was lonely. He was betrayed. He was spit on. He was ridiculed. He was abandoned. He knows what it feels like to feel like there is no one here. Jesus understood and laid his life down so that we could have hope and life and strength and peace and comfort. When life gets hard, Jesus understands. Whether it's a tough class, a difficult relationship, or something much more painful, Jesus understands. When life gets hard, I believe there are 3 ways that we can be reminded that Jesus understands us. This resurrection time we're celebrating reminds us that we are not alone. Because Jesus suffered so deeply, there is no suffering that we can face that he can't understand. Number 2, Resurrection Sunday reminds us that we can go to God with our suffering. No matter how big or small your suffering is, we have a God that we can go to with boldness, knowing that he is big enough to help us and to see us through. And number 3, Resurrection Sunday reminds us to comfort others. Because it's not just about us. It's about what God did for us and also what God did for others. And when we live for God, we can also show God and comfort others that may be going through a similar thing that we're going through. When we reflect on the ways Jesus suffered, it should make us more compassionate and concerned about the suffering of others. And Good Friday and Resurrection Sunday today, Easter, can be a time when we ask God to help and be a help to others, to comfort them when they may feel alone. And when we feel alone, we can reach out to others that say that they love God and live it out and help each other find a place of security and hope. If you're disappointed, if you're stressed out, if you're lonely, if you're afraid, Jesus knows what it's like. What if instead of asking, God, why did you let this happen to me? You ask, Jesus, When you felt this way, how did you go through it? And Jesus, can you help me? I hope you remember that we aren't always going to be able to avoid pain. Like, life can throw some really tough things at us. But there is a real person who understands. And remember, God does not put condemnation or fear or loneliness or tragedy on you. Now, God may allow it to happen, but God will never abandon you through it. God will never place more on you than He will provide a way out. And sometimes there is no greater comfort in the midst of suffering or pain than to know that someone else gets it, that someone else has endured something tough with us. So it's incredible to know that the Jesus who suffered suffers with us today. Let's pray. God, we thank you that we can have peace knowing that you have overcome death and the grave, that you have given hopeless hope, that you have given lonely comfort, that you have given fear faith, that you have given us boldness to face whatever circumstance or trial we may go through. God, help us to find comfort with you and in each other, that we find and pair up with others who are doing this and running this thing called life together. God, in each of us in our garage ministry, our leaders and our students, God, I just pray, God, that you give us a place of safety and security where we can love and laugh and cry and encourage and grow together. Guys, I love you so much, and God does too. And we ask all of this in Jesus' name, amen. Guys, you know that our meetings are a little different right now, and we're still working things out and finding more ways for us to stay connected. But you know our leaders care about you and love you, and you can reach out to us anytime beyond just a Sunday night. We're not here just to talk to you through a camera. We're here to live and do life with you. Feel free to message us, reach out to us any way you need to. That's what we're here for. Guys, I love you, and I can't wait till we meet again. We have some pretty cool stuff coming up soon. We're going to make some announcements in the coming week, so watch your remind text messages so you can stay updated. Also, if you're still watching with us, hopefully you are, right down below here, you'll see a subscribe button. Hit subscribe. Also, ring that bell, and that will allow you to get connected on our future things we may do, spontaneous, and also remind you each week when we go live. Just hit subscribe, hit remind if you're signed into your Google account, and you'll get updated on what we're doing here in the garage. And also, we'll send out some messages this week to stay connected about some future things we guys have. Well, I love you guys. Can't wait to see you again. Good night.